the real reason why you cannot stay consistent with eating healthy, working out, or any other goal really has nothing to do with motivation. In fact, trying to stay motivated is exactly why you keep falling off. I know, because I kept falling into the same cycle of undereating on busy days and then overeating when I was bored or stressed. And I couldn't understand why. In other areas of my life, like career or dance trainings, I was disciplined. But with my health, I just kept failing. And when I finally figured it out, staying healthy, toned, and also balancing my hormones, it became so effortless, it actually felt unbelievable. And in today's video, I will share with you 3 big mistakes that keep you from staying consistent and how to fix them so you can finally get the results you want. So what most people don't realize is that motivation is only 33% of the equation. The truth is, you also need the other 66% if you actually want to stick to what you committed. Think of it like a fire. You need 3 things: a spark, wood, and also fireplace. The spark is the motivation. Then the wood is dopamine, your brain's reward chemical, and I will explain in a moment because dopamine and reward aren't what most people really think. Lastly, you also need fireplace itself, so the fire doesn't get out of control and burn down the whole house. And that's your nervous system and your thoughts that keep the fire steady and safe. And here is the problem. If you just rely on the spark but you don't take care of the wood and the fireplace, the fire will keep going out. I'm not saying motivation is bad, but often it's not enough. And that's why sometimes you may feel like the endless cycle of starting, stopping, and burning out. So what's the real solution? All you need to do is really fix those 3 mistakes. Let me break it down. The first mistake is slipping into the shutdown, so-called freeze state according to your nervous system. And this is where most ambitious, high-achieving women can get stuck so easily. Here is my own example. When I launched my mini startup for functional protein shakes, I spent 2 full days sticking the labels on over thousands of pouches alone. Why? Because I thought no one would do it as perfectly as me. After 100, I was already exhausted and I wasn't even sticking them straight anymore. But I kept going because how could I not? I was strong, independent perfectionist who could do it all. But the truth is, when you're ambitious, or worse, a perfectionist as I used to be, you can easily push your system into the overdrive and then into freeze. And in that state, you may find yourself procrastinating, overeating, or eating things that are not really healthy. Because when you are in the freeze, all your mind seeks is just comfort. But that's not everything. And here is the interesting part. If you experience trauma or chronic stress in the past, your nervous system is wired for survival, not consistency. Consciously, you want the best for yourself, but your subconscious is tricking you into abandoning yourself for work, for others, anything but not you. And I know it doesn't make logical sense, but to give you an example, I had pretty amazing childhood, so I thought I didn't have any trauma. But what turned out, after I was born, I got sick and I spent my first days in the incubator. It imprinted me with, I'm not safe, my mom doesn't want me. Of course, the doctors were saving my life, but my little body didn't know that. And that belief ran into background for 20 plus years, keeping me stuck in unhealthy habits, unhealthy patterns, even when I wanted different things. And maybe that's you as well. You feel you want to change something, but somehow you just can't. So how do you come out from that freeze? It really depends how long you've been stuck in there and how long you've been living in that chronic stress survival state for. But here is a quick, really good exercise, so-called Wu breath. And here is how you do it. So just sit comfortably, inhale deeply into your belly so your belly expands, and then hold for 4 seconds. And then exhale slowly with a soft woo kind of sound. So let me show you. And there is also another variation in case you feel some anger and frustration at the same time. So apart from woo, you also add woo ah. Let me show you that one. Wow, wow. You do that as long as you can. And this quick exercise is a gentle nudge to your nervous system that we are safe enough to come back online. And also inside my Superwoman formula, I teach the whole routine for shifting out from freeze and fight or flight, plus nutrition and daily support. Because having information is one thing, but the tricky part is actually execution and that consistency. Then the mistake number 2 is believing your default thoughts. Most of your thoughts are not facts. They are just stories your brain keeps repeating. And most of the time, those stories are what keep you stuck. Think about it. How often do you tell yourself, I don't have motivation to do this, I will try again tomorrow, or I don't feel like cooking, or don't have time to do groceries, for example. They sound like a valid reasons, right? But here is the truth. Your thoughts literally create your reality, and actually there is science behind that. Your thoughts shape how you feel, and how you feel shapes your action. And here is very important thing. Repeated action shape your life. Where are you at right now, or where you are not? And here is the shift that changed everything for me. And it's pretty simple. All you need to do is change your unhelpful thoughts like I need motivation to do this to helpful thoughts. I can act even if I'm not motivated. Do you actually see the difference? If you wait, for example, for motivation to go to the gym, you simply will not go to the gym, most likely. But if you believe you can take action without motivation, something very powerful happens. Doing the thing you don't feel like doing releases dopamine, your brain reward chemical. And dopamine doesn't only come from success or results. It also comes from trying and from overcoming those inner blocks. So that's why swapping unhelpful thoughts for helpful one is like adding the good wood to your fire. And it's exactly what helps you to stay consistent. And ironically, it creates the motivation you are chasing in the first place. However, if you shift your thoughts, but still you feel like, nah, I still don't want to do this, that's where mistake number 3 comes in place. So mistake number 3 is having a weak why and not fully loving yourself enough to believe you deserve better. Think about it. If you perform well at work or for others, but you struggle to give yourself the same care, that's a sign. Lack of self-love may actually be sabotaging your consistency, and it often comes from old wounds or subconscious belief, I'm not good enough. Anyway, that's another topic, so let's get back to the weak why. For example, if you want to lose weight before summer or look good in the dress, these are good goals and nothing wrong with that. But if it's not tied to your bigger purpose or to who you want to become, it literally will not last. To keep that consistency, you really need to ask yourself, how will looking great in that dress actually change my life, if at all? Will it give me confidence at work, help me attract the right partner, give me energy to grow my business, or show up fully in life? The truth is, if your goals don't create real change in your life, or simply if you choose comfort over growth, consistency will always be a struggle. Also, that pull towards comfort often comes from those core wounds I mentioned earlier. Another important point as well to strengthen your why and that consistency is bringing awareness of the future pain, what's gonna happen if you don't start eating healthier or if you keep defaulting into unhealthy patterns and habits. Anyway, motivation is just a spark to get started. To stay consistent, you need the wood, working on your thoughts to keep generating that motivation, and then also the solid fireplace, which is your nervous system that keep the fire safe. And it's often the missing piece. And if you want to learn more what to do exactly to regulate your nervous system and unlock the leaner, healthier version of you effortlessly, watch this video next.